did win game one in a very dominant fashion. Yes, my 4 buffs did. They started out very, very strong, good counter jungling, but the ward coverage coming out from my 4 buffs just wasn't enough to keep up with the wards and the presence that um, Unfadable Gaming had. I'm just gonna get these set up here.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Alright, so across the board we're going to have Trundle versus Rengar up in the top lane. Mid lane is going to be Morgana and Mordekaiser, which should be an interesting matchup. Actually, they're going to kind of run into each other here at that tri-bush. It seemed like they might have been wanting to meet up. And this is the closest we've seen to an engagement at that level 1 all day. It seems like everyone was trading buffs every single time. And here it comes. The binding comes out on Mordekaiser, and he is going to be first blood. Straight out of the gate, Rengar picks that up. And Rengar might go down. He's exhausted, ignited, but he's running away. And the binding comes down on Hecarim. He goes down. That goes from Mordekaiser to Morgana. And finally, Rengar does fall. I think that was the second ignite put on him. And they actually pick up the Q onto MF, and she goes down with Morgana getting another kill. So that ends up being 3 kills to 1, and Morgana picks up 2. So straight out of the gate, and they're going to stick around and take that blue buff. Alright, that's earlier about the game zones. I don't think they're going to stick around and try and take this blue buff, because everyone is respawned, everyone's making their way back down there. And this might end up hurting Unfadable Gaming a little bit because of the late timing of them getting to their own blue buff. They stuck around just a little too long to take those wolves. I don't think the trade on wolves versus time to get back over the blue buff is really worth it. Though Skarner might just save blue buff, go wraiths and red instead. It's really to be determined still. One thing to note though, neither team really went back to buy after getting the advantage. Unfadable Gaming, picked up those multiple kills from Morgana, and Rengar even got a kill in there. He did buy, but that was mainly because he died. So at this point in the game, it's really on My4Buffs to take advantage of the fact that yes, they did give up a couple kills, but it's not really, they're not at a big lane disadvantage right now. And I don't think that they're playing that way. They're playing like they're already way behind, and they need to be a little bit more aggressive before Corki goes back and buys, before Morgana goes back and buys, because once they buy, that's when the game's going to start getting a little bit more skewed out of their favor, and they don't want to be sitting here playing passive when they have the opportunity that they can move forward and they can make plays happen before things just get a little out of control. And you can actually see Leona, trying to creep up a little bit on that bush from My4Buffs, and she's trying to get that combo off. And I don't know. Actually, Skarner is just sitting here staring at his blue buff. I think he's waiting for. Yeah, he's gonna get a leash on that actually from Morgana. Down in bot lane, we just looked away, but Leona did drop that combo off and was able to really chunk down Corki and Lulu. And that's exactly what they needed to do. They needed to kind of freeze that lane, have Leona sit forward in that bush, and wait for her to get that combo lined up. Because as soon as you get that combo lined up, that's going to be, this early in the game, half your health. It's going to happen that way. And everyone blew summoners at the beginning of that game, but Leona still has exhaust that she hasn't used. And I think that they need to either get their jungler down here and push this in some, or they need to let that wave push out some so that they can use that exhaust while it's sitting there, because while you don't have exhaust on cooldown, you don't gain anything. You're only going to gain anything if you're using exhaust. So the fact that they've been sitting there with exhaust, the fact that she has it, doesn't really mean anything right now. So the sooner she can get that exhaust out, the sooner it can be back up, and she can even use it later maybe. Top lane, we see Trundle actually putting some damage down from My4Buffs onto Hecarim, or onto Aaron. And the turnaround onto Leona, she pushed a little bit forward, has to burn Flash to get out of there. Um, she's got to realize that she is not at that tanky level yet. She's not that super tank that Leona becomes in the late game to where she can just run around and do basically whatever she wants. Rengar's going to get ganked here. Troll Pillar steps up a little bit, Exhaust comes out, red buff's down. This is going to be a death right here. Just when you go back, you should have picked up a ward if you're gonna sit in your lane. It was a little too pushed, and I know it's hard not to push as Rengar with that passive heal from when you get your points up, your combo points up. And yes, Leona MF do have that advantage, and they need to press it. And right now, I mean, Corki and Lulu are still sitting on all that gold. I mean, they're sitting on 1,500 gold on Corki, 1,200 gold on Lulu, and unless they go and spend that, there's no real advantage now. And with the CS staying even, they're just playing really passive. And I'm not entirely sure why they're feeling like they need to play passive. They've got proper ward coverage. They know that they have a good presence of where the enemy jungler is. He just walked over ward in top lane. And they should be playing a little bit more aggressive. Actually, you can see Trundle playing back a little bit, letting Rengar push that lane up and expose himself. Mainly because he saw Skarner in that ward, and he decided to let him push that forward. And actually, we have Morgana coming down for a gank. And see where this runs out. That's going to be a dead Leona. And at this point, this is when the advantages really start to crumble. Leona, MF, they needed to take advantage of that early on, and they did. They played too passive. Actually, a flash up top from Rengar. That Trundle ultimate comes out, and it creeps up on you. It takes away some of your armor and MF or MR, and it gives it to the other player. It gives him some health too. And it doesn't seem like it, but all of a sudden you're not doing any damage because he's just queued you and taken half your attack damage. I mean, it's really hard to win an early duel with the Trundle, and especially once he gets his ultimate, you really need to beef up your defenses and do the poke that Rengar is actually really good at. And actually down bot we have Corki. He's finally gone back to buy 2 Dorn's Vamp Scepter, very center build. Lulu picked up Philo Stone, still has no boots, but she has that, the Whimsy that gives her the movement speed that she needs. In mid lane, we have Skarner sitting around, trying to get something happening. They come down on Mordekaiser, but I don't think, and Heckler was there for the counter gank. I just don't think that they have the beefiness yet in that lane. Morgana was too low. She was not able to really bring any pressure to the table with Skarner coming in. It almost seemed like Mordekaiser thought about just turning around 1v1 onto Skarner because there wasn't going to be any threat. As soon as Morgana would come out, I expected Mordekaiser to drop his Ignite ultimate, and that was going to be a dead Morgana instantly. So now we're kind of moving into a little bit of a passive play phase. I think My4Buffs is a little on their heels, and they're trying to get things back together. But it's not as out of control as it started to get last game. They're still in this. It's only 4-2. They're only down 2k gold, just shy of 2k gold, and they just need to play smarter. And you gotta watch in that Corki. Wise H is a terror on his Corki right there. You saw it last game. He was all over the map, getting kills every chance he could, except for when Amumu was walking around going 4-0 at the beginning of the game. So we saw Morgana roaming bot trying to make something happen as far as a turf dive. But the problem is the wards caught her out and she spent too long sitting there waiting. And actually up top, a gank comes down on a Trundle, and Trundle turns around, picks up Rangar, so in a 1v2 situation, actually gets a kill and manages to get away underneath his turret safely. While Morgana gets Lulu all dropped in on her and is able to put some damage down, but I don't think anyone's going to walk away as soon as I say that. Corky goes down. But all in all, that did not go nearly as bad as it could have gone.
Killing spree.
And there, Morgana has evened up the trade a little bit in that massive skirmish that happened down bot with the proposed turret dive that turned into a counter gank that turned into a 4v4, 3v4 rather.
Shut down.
And now things are getting a little crazy. I think Unfadable is still riding the high that they had from that last game getting ahead, and they're getting a little bit cocky now, and My4Buffs is going to take advantage of that. As Scar comes in trying to do some damage, he might be able to get Mordekaiser. Just one more, there it is. But he is going to fall to the turret from Leona. So, all in all in that, My4Buffs does end up ahead. Call that a 3 to 4 exchange in favor of My4Buffs. There were so many kills that just constantly happening. I actually lost count. So up in top lane, we still have Ranger pushing away. He's actually looking okay right now as far as the damage he's trying to put out onto Trundle. He doesn't have good ward coverage, so you can see by his movements he's a little nervous about moving too far past the middle point of the lane. And as soon as I point that out, you can see Hecarim moving up in the lane, into that lane bush, and this is going to be a very, very bad time for Rengar. He does have his flash up. I think he's going to try to not use it. And actually, Skarner's coming back up for the counter gank, and he needs to get his pull off on the Hecarim. And they're going to turn around onto him. And actually, we have a disconnect from Leona, and I'm trying to figure out if they're going to do a pause. They are not pausing the game. This is a custom game, so we can pause the game in the event of someone disconnecting. And I'm not entirely sure why they haven't disconnected yet, because Leona is still disconnected, making her way to base. There's the pause. Alright.
A summoner has reconnected.
And as soon as they pause, Leona finally comes back in. So as soon as they're ready, the game will be unpaused, and we'll get right back into this game moving along.
A summoner has disconnected.
And actually, Morgana is now disconnected. So now we'll be waiting for Morgana to come back in, and that actually explains why Morgana was kind of sitting around the edge, near blue buff, while Skarner was looking like he was trying to give it to her. Actually, they are going to be unpausing it, even with Morgana. Oh, Morgana is still here. Okay. While everybody makes their way back into their lanes, Mordekaiser is kind of pushing up the turret. That's what Mordekaiser does. I think Mordekaiser into Morgana was a safe pick, because he can kind of negate the pushing power, pushing roam that Morgana can do. And we see again more of that damage, the sustained damage that Trundle can put out. You know, as an AD character, you're not going to win a 1v1 with Trundle very often. Mainly because he's going to take away most of your attack damage. But the Rapid Bite is going to reduce your attack damage by 40. I mean, at this point, that's nearly half of Rangar's AD. So once that bite comes down, there's not going to be a whole lot of damage coming out from him. Now let's look across at the CS that we see in each lanes. In top lane, Rengar is actually pulled ahead by 20 CS. He is down to 3 kills. Instead, actually, this down mid lane, Hecarim comes in on Morgana. She pops her ult. Skarner gets the kill, and Mordekaiser is forced to flash away over the wall and just barely gets out of range of the Dark Binding, thrown over the wall through a bush by Morgana. I don't think they would have been able to capitalize if that Dark Binding had hit, as Skarner had already started to turn around, but it would have put just a little bit more pressure and maybe made Mordekaiser think about going B already. Leona moves up to mid lane, just I think to keep an eye on Mordekaiser, make sure Skarner went back, and that Mordekaiser isn't in danger of getting ganked. But with that Hecarim kill from Morgana, Unfadable Gaming has brought this back even. So we're sitting at 7-7 with a just shy, about 1.5k gold advantage for Unfadable Gaming. And that's mainly going to be sitting on the CS. You can see in bot lane, Corki, 119 CS to MF's 82. And that's just shy of 40 CS difference. That's massive at this point of the game. Actually, in a 2v2 situation, MF is forced to flash away just from the damage being put out by that Corki Lulu combo. In top lane, we have Rengar. He's 15 CS above of Trundle, 185. So these are the things. Mid lane, they're close enough. It's 95-91 for Morgana. So all of that gold advantage that's coming out is coming from Corki in bot lane with his tremendous CS advantage, and Rengar, who's sitting about even, I'd say, on gold versus, actually, as I say that, Hecarim comes out for a gank. Rengar immediately pops his ultimate, gets away, and is going to be able to heal himself up with his combo points. Mid lane, we have a gank coming down, but Hecarim is immediately there to counter it. Seems like Morgana may have popped her ult a little bit early, and was not able to get Hecarim chained in there as well. If he was away just a little bit further, it might have been a little bit more effective, but I don't think that the Skarner-Morgana combo does enough damage to really take down a Mordekaiser that has, 2 people to put his shield off of, as well as creeps. Top lane, we have another little duel coming out. Trundle pops his ultimate onto Rengar, and Rengar actually ends up taking the brunt of that, but he's going to be able to heal that back up and keep things relatively even. Ignite comes down onto MF, however, a quick heal and a solar flare from Leona is going to keep everything kind of even. She is going to go all the way back to her inside turret over recall. Things are coming down from Unfadable on My4Buffs red buff, so I don't know if they're going to be looking to make a move there, or if they're just aiming to notify the rest of the team, hey, Hecarim's over there, he picked up his red buff, because they do have that ward there erased, so they're able to keep an eye out. Actually, Skarner has picked up an Oracle, so he's doing work, he's going around trying to clear out some of those wards, because in this game, My4Buffs has done a little bit better job as far as keeping wards on the map. We can take a quick look at the Fog of War, and, My4Buffs with Skarner out there playing wards, they've definitely dropped their map awareness, their map vision, and yet again, Unfadable Gaming is on point with keeping wards out on the map around My4Buffs' blue, at their own wraiths to protect against counter jungling, at the tri-bush of My4Buffs to protect against ganks. A lot of things coming down around Dragon, and I think this could be the first contested dragon we've had today. Nobody's really made a move towards dragon until they'll get that double kill on bot lane. Once they get that double kill on bot lane, then they feel comfortable moving in, and actually really ballsy move by Leona to jump in. And Morgana's going to drop her ult across all of them. Lulu ult comes out on Skarner, who also has a Mordekaiser ult on top of him. Morgana's still in doing damage. There's a whole lot of nothing actually happening to this. And Leona's going to fall to Corgi, who shows up to go ahead and drop in his cleanup crew. Hecarim drops Lulu, who's already low health first. And it looks like Mordekaiser's going to fall. Morgana just barely escapes with the Black Shield to save her. And that's going to end up being a 1-for-2 exchange in favor of Unfadable Gaming.
Purple team's turret has been destroyed.
While all that's happening, up top, Rengar was able to push Trundle out of lane and take that turret. So now the only response would be for My4Buffs to go ahead and try and rush a dragon, which is what they're going to do right here. I don't know that they're in the strongest position to get it, but it doesn't look like anyone from Unfadable Gaming is close enough to contest that risk.
Purple team has slain the dragon.
In response to that, Rengar is going to go up top and put a lot of damage down on this inside turret. And unless they can get somebody else up there, this is not going to go well.
Purple team's turret has been
And that's the
destroyed.
second turret. On one push, Rengar pushed down 2 turrets while they were getting Dragon. So again, we can kind of see that little bit of advantage kind of pushing up from top lane.
Purple team's turret has been
Trocadero, which I believe is how you pronounce his name. He played Jax last game, and he was just immovable in that lane. So much burst coming out, and he just kept pushing turrets, and he just refused to die. In this game, he's got 3 deaths under his belt, but he's also managed to push those turrets down, and he really made My4Buffs pay for that dragon with 2 turrets of his own. So I think all in all, throughout all of that, Unfadable Gaming definitely picked up a huge advantage off of that. They're now 4K in the lead, just past 20 minutes. This is a very close game, even though Unfadable Gaming does have a 3-turret advantage to none over top of My4Buffs. Rengar is pushing down the chase a little bit. Trundle was going to drop the Troll Pillar, and they're just going to move on. Not too much of a threat there. Morgana did go for that early Zonias, so expect them to be looking for more early team fights. I would expect to see Lulu going up mid and Corki kind of just trying to stay in bot by himself and farm up. You can already see MF has been moving to other lanes to kind of push lanes back and get some free farm. To try and bring this thing a little bit closer, sitting just over 50 farm below Corki, you gotta do something. The problem that you're going to see now is the same thing happened in the last game. Went for that, going for an early Infinity Edge over top of taking a couple Doran's Blades or a Phage just for some survivability. You're not going to win a duel. Yes, you do a lot more damage, but you also don't have any dueling capabilities. And they went ahead and grouped up mid and pushed down that turret while down bot. Corki and Lulu have pushed out that lane, and they exchanged 1-for-1 turrets. I think that the mid turret was a little bit more, and everybody, says that all the time, and it's mainly because it gives more access to the jungle. If you want to push too far out from the turret, you kind of lose the corners of your jungle, and immediately Skarner, Morgana, they move into the enemy jungle, drop an ult, a Skarner pull, and it looks like the ultimate coming down on Morgana is going to get her, and Trundle comes in to help clean up and slow things down. Failed flash over the wall by Rengar. Nope, he's going to be able to make that out of that just fine. However, if they turn this around, MF actually a very early flash. I think she realizes just how she lacks so much survivability with her build. She's going to try and everything she can to stay at the very edge. Right now, Lulu getting chased down by Mordekaiser, and I think just one more. Yep, there it is. So all told, that's a 2-for-1, 2-for-2. I think it's a 2-for-2 total. 3-for-2. Now in favor of My4Buffs. They pulled even again, 11-11. These fights are just getting really extended. and they feel like they start really good, they turn really sloppy, and then they kind of close strong. Um, so I mean, I think it's a little bit of nerves on My4Buffs because if they lose this, they're out of the tournament. They're not gonna be able to compete for third and fourth place. From Unfadable Gaming, I think they were kind of shocked at the strength that My4Buffs has come out with compared to that last game, and it seems like everyone's kind of on their heels, and they'll start to execute, and then it kind of gets real sloppy, and then they kind of bring it together at the end because they remember where they are and what they're doing. But I think from now on, we're going to see Morgana and Skarner running around constantly together because just the pull from Skarner with a Dark Binding from Morgana into her ult, it's going to be a bad time for whoever they manage to pick out. But they need to get Corki roaming with them because he is their damage dealer right now. He's got his Trinity Force finished up. Um, he's got 2 Dorans, so he's going to be doubling the damage from those Dorans. Skarner and Trundle actually beating each other right here. And Skarner's putting a little bit of damage down. And they're going to let Skarner get kind of zoned out. And the ultimate comes down from Morgana, locks Mordekaiser in place, but the rest of the team has abandoned Morgana. She does get the Lulu ultimate, and she manages to survive with the Lulu ultimate, even with the Mordekaiser ultimate ticking on her. So far it's 1 for 2 for Unfadable Gaming. Morgana just barely gets out. It looks like Skarner is gonna make it out just by the hair's teeth, and Morgana picks up another kill off of Leona. So all told, it's gonna be a 1 for 3 in favor of Unfadable Gaming, with everyone on the map being very low health. So with what was a very, very even game, you can see in a team fight that it's still very, very even. I mean, they were just a couple auto attacks from that swinging the completely opposite direction. This has got to be the closest game we've had all day. And yeah, it's 5K gold advantage in Unfadable Gaming's favor. They're up 2 kills and 3 turrets, but this is still anybody's game. I mean, we're closing in on 27 minutes in the game. Only a 5K gold advantage. That is definitely recoverable. We see Rengar starting to get kind of some of his damage. He's got a lot of survivability. He's going to be trying to survive that Mordekaiser burst and ultimate. Mordekaiser, though, I feel like his ultimate is not contributing to the team fights overall because he keeps putting it down on Morgana. Once you get that Morgana ghost from her dying, if you get that Morgana ghost, he's managed to fail that twice now just by last second efforts from Morgana's teammates. But that's not going to be doing a whole heck of a lot. You need to get that Corki, you need to get Rengar. I mean, even a Skarner would be better than a Morgana ghost. We actually see both teams now doing the dance around Baron. And, bot lane, it's pretty even. Mid lane is pushed a little bit. Top lane is pushed in towards Unfadable Gaming. So, I mean, nobody really has a distinct advantage here for this Baron dance. It's definitely going to be happening right now. However, Unfadable Gaming does have an Oracles, whereas My4Buffs lost their Oracles earlier and has not gotten another one. They're relying actually on a gank coming out onto Morgana, and she's gonna go down. And that's really gonna give them the advantage now if they want to try and push and grab up a Baron push like right now. That would be their best bet. They don't have an Oracles. They're not going to be able to sweep rewards, so you're going to be concerned about Rengar stealthing in there. You've got to be concerned about Skarner coming in there. And this is just, it's not a safe Baron. Yes, they're 5-4, but Corki is really far ahead right now. He's already got a BF Sword to pair up with that Triforce. And, MF on her own. Actually, a Fool comes out now. Looks like the ultimate's going to go up on top of Skarner. Corki goes down from Hecarim. He's just too beefy at this point. Lulu is trying to keep her Oracles alive while still slowing everybody. Rengar is low, flash over wall. He's trying to keep his GA from being popped. Once that GA gets popped, it's going to make him really, really rough to fight later on. And just, nope, she is not going to be able to get away. Yeah, not having Morgana in that team fight really, really hurt Unfadable Gaming in this exchange, and it looks like My4Buffs, they kept it even. Um, they picked up the early kill on Morgana. They got 2 kills, and Rengar was starting incredibly low. But at the same time, they also lost 3 of their own throughout that entire exchange. Nobody picked up the Baron, so that was just a we're gonna have a mulligan, and it's probably gonna start the Baron dance soon again. Lulu did lose her oracles. It doesn't look like anyone has picked up another oracles to make up for that. Oh, I stand corrected. Skarner has picked up an oracles, so it's gonna give him a little bit more ability to kind of contest the Baron area. Trundle did pick up a pink ward, but that's not the same as having that oracles, that mobile clearing capability for wards. Um, Actually, right now, My4Buffs may be making a big error in putting Mordekaiser and Leona in the bot lane. If they show themselves, then I expect Unfadable Gaming to make a move towards Baron because it's wide open. Skarner's already going through to clear wards, and they need to turn this around. They need to turn it around, or this is going to go way, way out of their favor in a hurry. As you can see, Hecarim and Trundle already noticed that's going to happen. Unfadable started Baron already. Pillar comes out from Trundle. That's going to hurt the team fight. If they can't get in a team fight, if Unfadable can't force a team fight right now, then that's going to hurt them. And then he's not going to have the Pillar back up for displacing. Leona getting caught out a little bit here. Drops Solar Flare before the fight engages. Rengar pops his ultimate, does nothing really with it. Jumps in on Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser gets grabbed by the Skarner ultimate. It actually saves him from the Dark Binding, but he still gets grabbed. Ultimate comes down on MF from Morgana. MF drops. So at this point, I expect to see Unfadable Gaming make a move towards that Baron pit and see if they can't put this game away right now. If they don't, they're going to leave themselves wide open for My4Buffs to really bring this back because all the team fights have been so close. That was only someone getting caught out of position a little bit. Trundle trying to do what he can to disrupt them over the wall. We might see Hecarim try and come over the wall and smite steal this. That will keep things close in his favor, and he was just a little bit behind on that extra call for his efforts. And we should be seeing blue team make a push towards mid. The pings did come down on that middle turret. They're going to push that turret down, probably go back, buy from the team fight gold and the Baron gold and the turret gold, and they're going to come out way stronger than they already were. I mean, you already have a Corki with a Triforce and a Bloodthirster. I expect them to come out with maybe some sort of survivability to try and survive, because as soon as Mordekaiser kind of can catch Corki off to the side, because Corki's position has been flawless. He's been at the back, just hammering away on everyone he can. And it hasn't really given Mordekaiser that capability of grabbing the Corki ghost and just decimating Unfadable. So at that point, Unfadable did pick up Baron, did do a 2-turret push actually, and picked up an inhibitor before they've even gone back after Baron. Morgana's in a little bit of trouble right here. And she goes back in, pops her ultimate on the 3 members and Azonia's, and it's given her team a little bit of time to come in. The Skarner ult comes in, she's going to grab Leona back across, and the Solar Flare comes out on top of Lulu, and Trundle ends up going down, and the Ghost Blast Tick does get Corki. So now he has a Corki Ghost, and now you're going to really see just the capabilities that Mordekaiser has when he gets the right person with a Ghost. Mordekaiser is still alive, and you can see the Corki Ghost doing damage back there. He is doing work. They're actually, MF is going to kind of back up this chase they got going on Rengar. However, Lulu comes around, pops her Shurelya's, and really helps Rengar get out of there. With the slows that can come out from Rengar and Lulu, that chase was really over before it started. So an incredible turnaround from My4Buffs, from a very, very greedy Unfadable Gaming. They'd already got 2 turrets. They got the Baron, they got the inhibitor, but Morgana decided to get caught out of position by going away from her team, then come back in on it, pop her ult and an early Zhonya's, and she paid the price for it. Corki had to come in. He was out of position, trying to save Morgana's, and ended up getting the Mordekaiser Ghost thrown on him, and that is what wrecked Unfadable Gaming, was their own Corki Ghost. So with that, it's not as out of control as it was. It's only a 7k gold advantage, 7.5k gold advantage, 3 kills difference between these two, 21 to 18, and then 6 turrets to 2. But this really isn't out of. This game has not gone out of control for My4Buffs just yet. So after that flurry of team fights going on, we're going to see both teams kind of try and get back into their rhythm. My4Buffs really needs to keep presence in this middle lane. Unfadable is going to take the advantage there and go ahead and pick up the free dragon while My4Buffs deals with the super creeps coming down from that earlier killed inhibitor. So we're coming across 35 minutes now. Both teams are kind of roaming together, and that's really the best thing, because at this point in the game, if someone gets caught out, it's going to change the landscape of the game. You know, we have another issue with Mordekaiser getting caught out, or with Morgana getting caught out. This game is going to swing drastically into My4Buffs' favor, and it's not that far out from them right now either. They were trying basically like a naked turret with no. Actually, they're just going to go down now, so Morgana ult. Grab goes out on Mordekaiser. And at this point, they did just enough damage to that turret to get it down. MF ult comes out, but she's just too far away to do any real damage. And that ends up being a 3 for none with the turret in favor of Unfadable Gaming, and they're starting to walk away with this, and there's not a whole lot that My4Buffs can do at this point. They need to sit back, relax a little bit, get their farm going. You know, everyone's coming up on level 18 now. MF really needs to use the advantage of her being level 18, while you still have people like Lulu at level 15, and Corki, the enemy Corki, is only at level 17. So I mean, take advantage of that level difference. Actually, Rengar's going to fall to Trundle's ultimate and ignite, and he's going to make it out of there. So it's going to slow down that turret push a little bit. But they still have Corki. He's going to just hammer away on that inhibitor. If they can get that second inhibitor down, Leona's going to go a little bit deep here and just trying to save the inhibitor, and pay for it with her own life before any of her teammates can get there to help her. But it does save that turret, or that inhibitor rather, and it's going to keep them alive just a little bit longer. They're dealing with an overwhelming amount of super creeps. The inhibitor's going to be, their original middle inhibitor's going to be respawning soon. So there's going to be a little bit less pressure on them. And there it is. It's going to be respawning soon. So you're going to be able to come back into this. It's not panic time. It's not, slash FF time. It's time to settle in, get your lanes pushed out a little bit, do some farm, prep for the next Baron. The next Baron is really going to make or break this game. If Unfadable is allowed to get Baron without too much of a contest coming out of My4Buffs, then this game's going to be over. They're going to be able to have that regen. They're going to be able to have that poke ability. They're going to be able to push in, take those 2 naked inhibitors, and once you have 2 lanes pushing super creeps, things are really going to get out of control then. You're not going to be able to bring things back in the line. And you can already see Skarner making his way over with oracles. He's going to start setting up wards and pushing lanes that are around the Baron pit in preparation for that Baron dance that will be coming up within the next minute. It's nice at this point that My4Buffs does have those inhibitors up. They don't have to deal with super creeps, and I think they're making a mistake sending MF down bot because they don't have wards in their own jungle. Skarner is going around. They know Skarner's warding stuff now, so they need to get MF out of that bottom lane. And already the pings are coming out for her to fall back. With her staying in that bottom lane, they're going to give them a distinct disadvantage because they have no buffs or no wards in their own jungle. So people are going to come through, and they can't even go through their own jungle safely to get to that Baron, which has respawned now. and it's going to be a quick pickup actually by Unfadable Gaming. Trundle's going to come over, ward across the wall. They know they're taking it right now, but they're out of position. There's no way they can get across that wall and take that from them. Hecarim has to come across now, and blue team does pick it up again. The Morgana also comes out, the Voodoo also comes out, and Mordekaiser drops, and Hecarim drops. This is going to be a good game, and I expect to see Unfadable go ahead and push it home right now.
Rampage.
Yes, at this point it looks like GG's might be coming out, or if they're just going to push through, take down the naked inhibitors, and then take out the last Nexus turrets. And they're going to push this through before My4Buffs has all the members up.
Purple team's inhibitor has been destroyed.
There's both inhibitors down. Trundle is the only person
Purple
left,
team's turret has been destroyed.
and that's going to go ahead and be a
Purple
GG.
team's turret has
I
been
don't
destroyed.
expect them to drag it out any further. Just attack the
Purple
Nexus
team's turret has been destroyed.
and call it right there. Very, very close game. All the way up until that just before that Baron. A little bit out of position, and that's going to end it for